Hello and welcome into the SorareData Football Strategy Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined once again by PSU fans too, Sean Newsham. Today to talk about what to do when you're bored. I actually had no intention of talking about this, mostly because I'm not bored. And I was talking to Sean yesterday. He was like, "Yeah, Sorare's just kind of dull right now." And I was like, "Oh, great. Let's talk about that," because I'm fairly certain that the solution to boredom that you have is very different than what I have. But Sean, why is Sorare dull for you right now?
Well, you just said you're not bored at all or dull at all. So why are you not bored or dull at all, Laird?
Because I have decided to make suboptimal decisions to try to win differently, and fully you would never do that.
No, and I mean it's failed miserably every time.
That's not true.
When was it true?
My limited collection right now is flourishing, Sean.
Wow, I'm sure you're super duper excited about that, Laird.
The reason I'm excited about it is because it has opened up a different way to play and win. And I think that the way that you play, which is effectively meant to optimize as much as possible, you get to a point where if you need to make material changes, you usually don't ever have to make like full like material changes. But if you need to make like a change, it's like absurdly expensive. Like, hey, maybe I'll go get whatever unique. And like, that's the thing that actually changes what you're doing a lot. And so I think you are in a position where you're like, I can't really do a whole lot more than I have. So it's dull. And but it's probably smarter to stay on that path anyway.
I think the reason for me is actually different than that. I think there's two reasons. Well, I think it isn't dull or boring. I think that's the incorrect term for me. It's that like I get brain fried. Like my brain, I spend a lot of time on stuff, and in the spring and summer, I have time. So like it's cool. Like I watch games all day. Whereas right now, because I'm busy with other things, I am just like, I don't get to watch as many games. Like, so literally Saturday, I don't turn on a game like at all. Like I maybe will turn on one game in the morning, one game at night, maybe if that, because I have so much college football stuff going on. So it's like, I'm just tired. And then I will say, so like during overlap season, the amount of time I have to spend to do stuff is extensive. Like Thursday takes me like 6 hours to get through lineups and do everything I need to realistically do, on top of like checking things all throughout the week. But the part that really annoys me is that I then have to go and move the lineups onto Sorare. And that part is what just kills me. The part where I'm like done building my lineups finally, and then I'm just like, oh, now I have to spend an hour putting lineups into Sorare, and it's just like, these, by the way, these are whale problems for me. So anyone that is not a whale, I apologize. But like, I'm giving you guys a perspective that maybe you don't have. And some people do have a perspective as well. Like it takes a lot of time to do stuff, but like it just takes a lot of time to build lineups. And then I'm sitting there and I'm watching the weekend, and like Sunday is the day that I actually have time to watch some games. Like I can watch some games on Sunday. Like the last month, I've had absolutely nothing to watch on Sunday. My lineups are either done and good, done and bad, or not done and they're terrible. So like yesterday, I actually had a good lineup where I'm like, all right, I have a spot to watch a game. And of course, it was the stupid ass Atletico Madrid game, which if there's one team I don't want to watch in the world, Madrid, I hate them. I needed Griezmann. Within 5 minutes, he had 2 BCMs, never had another chance the rest of the game. And I'm just like, so I'm watching the Atletico Madrid game, just wanting to like gouge my eyes out because I just like hate life. And I'm just like, this stinks. And like, wasn't I had a bad game week? Like I still had a decent amount of rewards in. I'm winning and likely to win Challenger Rare Pro, which is great. I didn't get to watch any of those games. I got to watch none of those at all. And in those, my goalie conceded in the 86th minute. I'm still winning with my goalie conceding in the 86th minute. And I'm just like, but it was done by Saturday. And I'm just like, well, I got to watch 0 of those games. And I'm kind of boring. And then MLS, Mike Basson has brought up MLS scheduling. MLS is so jam-packed right now. So is Europe. Everywhere is just like every 3 days everybody's playing, and you're just sitting there like, I wanted like, I hate playing the is this guy going to rotate game.
Yeah.
It's so shitty because we don't have the ability to do late swaps or subs or whatever, and I'm just like, now I got to sit there and just decide is everybody that is playing every 3 days is going to rotate, and at some point they're going to rotate. Like at some point they're going to rotate. Like they're not playing. You're not playing 3 days straight for 12 game weeks in a row. But so I think a lot of it is like, so like, and I'm spending 80 plus hours a week on college football stuff. So my brain is just exhausted this time of the year, and that's why I think it's boring to me. If college football wasn't going on right now, I wouldn't be as boring. But I think what happens is right now and like April, right now we've had overlap season going for like 2 months. So every week is just a lot, and it's just full overlap season where every card is available, and you're just like, but there's no excitement because like there's no new league starting. It's not like, oh yes, my Belgium cards are back, let's go. Or like, oh, MLS is just starting up, I get to play Carlos Gil again. Or it's like, oh, the Bundesliga is back, let's go. I just bought Harry Kane, I get to play him. It's like, all right, I played Harry Kane for like the last 8 game weeks. I get it. Like he's gonna score a goal. And so like but I said a lot of my dullness right now is just overall brain exhaustion. So like I don't even really attribute it to Sorare.
Yeah. So it's not Sorare being dull, although what you mentioned is kind of an interesting. I'll go into that in a second. Germ points out that the MLS waited for the NFL to come back before having Sunday games, which is always
Don't
like
get me started on that at the MLS. Yeah,
like,
don't get me started on that nonsense because I actually have a hot take, Laird, and I'm confident I'm one of the only people that thinks this.
Okay.
You know the most exciting part for me right now in Sorare, and again, this is purely due to brain exhaustion. What do you think the most exciting part for me in Sorare is? By far, the most exciting part. Like I look forward to it a lot.
Waiting for the next jersey to drop in the club shop.
No, I literally have not bought one yet. Actually, you want to guess how many Sorare coins I have?
I would guess you're probably 300,000.
What'd you say?
300,000?
No, more than that, I think. I got to figure out how to go find this now. Where'd I go?
Just right on your gallery.
It's not there. Okay, it is. Okay. 580.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like I have nothing to use them on, so.
Yeah.
So Vitaly says, discovering what you can line up. Actually, he will appreciate this. This is how brain exhausted I am. I actually don't mind setting academy lineups. I do set them, but it doesn't bother me. I now for like limited lineups, I run the SorareData algo because I just don't care. I get to limited, I'm like, I don't care.
That's your favorite part now of the game week?
No. You still haven't guessed it, but I will give it to everyone. My favorite part is the international breaks. Love them.
Just because it's a break, or because
it's a mental break for like 10 days.
So, did you feel that way last month though, when the All-Star Rare was like running for this month-long competition?
No, I actually loved the month-long competition, but that's a whole different story. That was actually very interesting to me. But I'm going to say this that people will agree with. It's just a pure whale competition. It's just like the whales are going to succeed. I should have probably won All-Star Rare Pro. And Ricardo Pepi sucks, basically, is what that came down to.
Yeah, I mean, yes. John, if you're blaming Ricardo Pepi for anything, that sounds like more of a you problem than a Ricardo Pepi.
No, because he literally had a clean 1v1 by like 10 yards. He had to take like 4 terrible touches to not even get a shot off from Veerman. If he scores, I think I finished second on the week in All-Star Rare Pro, and I get first in the month. So it was like a 5 ETH, like he just doesn't even get a shot off. I'm just like, you suck. But yeah, so basically what's going to happen is they're eventually going to come up with like, you get to play. Like I'm going to be like that guy that's like, you get to play in the New England Revs game, and you're just going to see me trot out there because I had so many SO coins saved up, and it's going to be great. But yeah, so Mike Basson, like I love the international breaks because I just get to set my 5 lineups or whatever. I sometimes have more. Like I think I have a good amount of goalies now. I honestly don't even know. But like the international break is super duper relaxing for my brain So I like the international breaks. I'm one of the only people. But to your question, was I like brain fried last month? No, because college football hadn't really ramped up. The issue for me is college football. Once like I'm working before college football season, I'm not working 80 to 100 hours a week on college football stuff. Whereas like now I'm literally putting in 80 to 100 hours a week on college football stuff. I can't even get to my Sorare lineups till 6 p.m. on Thursday. Then I have to spend like 4 to 6 hours, and I get off the computer at like midnight. Then I sit on my computer the next day for like 16 hours. Then I sit on my computer Saturday for like 20 hours, and I'm just like falling on the floor, like drained. And it's like, oh my God. And then I have other stuff that I do that you are aware of that like takes time as well. And then all of a sudden it's just like I sit on the computer for 14 hours a day, get off, go to bed, get up, sit on the computer for 14 hours, go to bed, get up. And it's just like, man, it's exhausting. So it's more of a PSU related brain exhaustion than anything else.
Yeah. To be honest, thank God you don't have a newborn. That just
I
put you over the edge.
Praise my wife because she does a lot with the baby. I do very, very little with the baby, which we talked about. Part of our relationship that is very strong is our communication skills. And as you know, we went IVF route because we were not able to do it the normal way. So we basically got to decide when we wanted to have the baby. And she wanted to have it as soon as possible because we had gone for a few years trying with failure. So she didn't want to delay getting started with the process. But because of that, we went in and we said, we're like, I said, I'm like, if we have this baby in this time of year, you are going to have to do most everything, which she has been great about. And my parents have helped, her parents have helped. So it's like, I've done very little with the baby in regards to normal newborn baby stuff. Also, like his due date, Laird, was like last Thursday, and he's been here for like a month already.
Yeah.
So like, if we got him at that point, it would have been a lot less stressful than when he came. Thank you, Sorry. Yes, it was expensive and a lot. The entire process. If you haven't gone through it, I hope no one has to. The whole IVF process is a lot. Luckily, we were successful once we went down that path pretty quickly. So that was nice. Glenn asked, when you say putting in hours, is this for DFS or straight sports betting? DFS. I do a lot of stuff. Laird knows I just do a lot of stuff. And so like this time of the year is the time where I get overwhelmed with my stuff. Whereas other times during the year, I'm more capable of doing stuff. So like I have like 80 hours for DFS. Then I have to do another 30 to 40 hours doing other stuff. Then I have other things. Then I have to sleep like 5-6 hours a day, if not less. So this time of the year is just really difficult for me. And then once we get to January, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm fine. Good to go.
So first off, you can't plan miracles, Sean. So it's really tough to schedule things like that. But anyway, Vita says learning how to put a newborn to sleep is very similar to learning how to do lineups. It requires a lot of patience, failure, frustration, and eventually, if you get one right, it's so satisfying.
So here's a funny story about this that you guys with babies will understand. And I told my wife about it yesterday, so she's probably lurking in the background listening. So she feels good after I just complimented her, and she'll probably be pissed off about this one. But so feeding him takes like an hour. The process takes like an hour, right? Sure. So I don't comment on anything with baby because there's no reason for me to comment. She's doing almost everything. I'm letting her do everything because why should I comment? Like she's the one that has to do it. So like if I see something, if she's like holding the baby upside down, I'm like, all right, that's probably, but she doesn't do that stuff obviously. But like, here's the one that was funny. So we had a newborn pediatrician appointment at like 12:30 it was a couple Thursdays ago. And I know it takes about an hour to feed them because that's like typically how long it's been taking. And she's like at like 11:05, she's like, I'm gonna feed him. And we had to like be at the door by 11:30. I'm just like, seems like a bad idea. But I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say a word. And then sure enough, it starts taking a long time. We had to leave by like 11:30, but really like 11:45. You know how you just try to be early in case something happens. Like, so we had like 15 minutes baked in. And I'm still like, this sounds like a bad idea. And I'm sitting there, and sure enough, turned out to be a bad idea. And she finishes and she's all frazzled, and then something happened with the car seat where like the straps got twisted or something, which you can't do. So I'm just sitting there, but we handled it well. We didn't get frustrated with each other, and I'm just sitting there the whole time, kept my mouth shut about. I couldn't believe she fed him at that time, so that I didn't make the situation better. Mike Bassness, does he know he has two parents? I spend a solid segment of my day with him where I hold him and say hello to him. But like that's pretty much it right now. Sadly, like that's just how life goes, right?
Yeah, of course. Do you think you would be doing much different with your gallery or not feel the dullness if it was not college football season?
I'd probably be okay. I made a move. Well, I tried making a lot of moves, by the way, the last week.
Okay.
I tried to. Did you see Kavicha as a forward card now?
Yes.
Tried to buy as 1 of 10 super rare, and I was like, all right, I got a decent shot at getting this for a really cheap price because his price is based on a midfield card. And I think his forward card's way better. I don't think his midfield card's great. Sure enough, rips 100 like 20 minutes before his auction goes off, and I'm just like. Then I tried to get Joey Veerman super rare because obviously I think he's a great card to have right now, and I like forgot the auction was going on because I think it ended Saturday, and I put like a max bid at like 3 because usually what I do is like I put a max bid, and then if someone outbids me, I reevaluate and decide if I want to get it again. And someone paid like 3.1 or like 3.2. They literally just outbid me. And I probably would have went higher, but I completely forgot and didn't know it even happened until someone's like, oh, I can't believe Veerman went for 3 ETH. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't remember they went for 3 ETH because I think it went off on Saturday. Was that Saturday or was it Friday? I was busy both days.
28th was
Thursday. I'm busy. The end of the week is difficult for me. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm like useless.
I will say that the max bid feature absolutely makes you not think you need to remember when auctions end because you're like, oh, I'm fine.
Which is great though, because like I need this card? No. Is it a good card to have? Would I love it? Yeah, sure. But like, did I really need to go spend 3.5 on it? Nah. I was like, yeah. Because really, what my real need was, I needed a good super defender. So I tried to get Trent Alexander-Arnold.
So you went after Kavicha and Veerman.
Yeah, well, I mean, Veerman was. I was like, I put in a 3 ETH bid because I was like, if it goes for 3 ETH, I want this card. I was like, if it goes for over 3 ETH, I don't really care. Whereas like Kavicha, I put a max bid in, got outbid, then I upped it a couple times because I thought it was a really good card. I would love to have it. I want to see I got to see if they've done a rare of his yet, because if they hadn't done a rare, but a forward card is such a better card. No, there's been no rare auctions yet. I'm curious how it will be. Yeah, so Charlie says there's always a bit of wiggle room on the top of the max bid. Usually for me, yeah, my max bid is like, if the card goes for this, I want the card. And then if it goes over this, I will reevaluate for a little bit and decide on the wiggle room. So like, but like that could be like 25, 30% more than I'm willing to go up with. So I'm trying to figure out what that is on these cards. Like, so Kavicha, I was like, I will go quite a bit above. Like, I think I said 3 max bid on Kavicha, and I ended up going to like 3.6. And then Veerman, I said a max bid. I think I would have put Veerman to like 3.5. And then Trent Alexander-Arnold, I got max bid. But my max bid was like my max because I was like, I want this card because I really wanted the Trent. I thought it was a good fit for me. But I was like, I went over and I was like, yeah. Maybe I threw 1 bid in afterwards because I'm just like, I could use this card. But then I didn't get it. But I went out and got a perfect replacement for not getting Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I bought Diego Dalot, which
I'm going to get to that in a second. It bothers me so much that they have not auctioned the 1 of 100 Kavicha, but they've rewarded 2 and 3.
That's weird.
Like that drives me nuts.
Yeah. No, I mean, I am interested what it will go for, because when the super are hit, I'm not sure if that many people. I have talked to some people. They're like, "Why were you going so hard at Kavicha? The card kind of sucks." I'm like, "You haven't noticed it's a forward card yet." They're like, "Nope, I did not."
Yeah.
But now I'm not going to go get. I'm not. Yeah, the Kavicha that Maddie won, that was the card that I would have won had Veerman scored.
Pepe, you mean?
Yeah, Pepe. Sorry, Pepe scored. I win that card.
Yeah.
which would have been a great card. Because I would love that card. I don't give a shit about. I've won his midfielder twice and sold him within a day. The forward card I actually would like, and I would keep it. Kev Hurt is here. Welcome, Kev.
Yeah. Bouncy was asking if they even reward one-ofs or jersey mints. I don't know how many one-ofs they do, but they definitely reward jersey mints.
Jersey mints for sure, because I don't think they have a clue what the jersey mint is on any cards. But I don't know if they've ever rewarded a 1. Have they rewarded a 1?
They definitely have super rares. I don't know about.
Oh,
rares.
yeah. I meant rares. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've won a one-of super rare, but not a. I don't know about rares.
That's fair.
Yeah. So tell me about this Delo purchase.
So basically Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw are out for a substantial amount of time. And I think Delote is a pretty damn good scorer when he plays consistently. And he's got at least the next few months where he's going to play consistently. And in the past, like, this is a guy that's had pretty good upside. He's had multiple hundreds. If you just look at his starts, he's been pretty good for Man United. He's averages like 58 a game with some pop. So I think at 0.4, it's a great card. Not to mention, like, he's 24. Like,
yeah,
guy that's really good age, has the ability to go up. And like, it just felt like a pretty good card, because what I kind of wanted to do, I'm kind of in this is kind of where I'm trying to go with my Champ Europe shit. Yeah, he plays for Portugal.
I was going to say he's pretty locked for Portugal too.
Which, a big reason why this was also a good pickup for me, I felt, was I have Bruno Super Rare. Well, Bruno Super Rare not only works well with Delote for Manchester United,
yeah,
it also works good with him for Portugal. And Portugal, I have a full stack of the team realistically, because I have like Diogo Costa, Delote now, Ruben Diaz if I want him. I have Bruno. I have our boy Joao, who's now going to.
I was going to say Joao Felix.
Joao's going to lock himself into the Portugal lineup, so I'm good there. So I just felt like it was a really, really good card to have available to myself. So I actually tried to win the auction, and I failed like 2 weeks ago. And then I saw that ACTA won him, and I'm like, ACTA probably doesn't want that card. So I'm like, I think I can pick him up for a reasonably cheap price. So luckily ACTA gave me a decent price on him and was able to get that done. But so kind of what I'm trying to do with my Champ, because I've obviously been trying to make sure that I prioritize Champ to some extent. I want to have, and I was talking to Bellama about this, and he had a terrible take. Bellama, if you're listening, I love you, but terrible take. He's like, you don't need a full team stack. I'm like, you need a full team stack, and when only that team plays. And that, like, the thing is that people don't understand is, like, part of being a whale is being able to take advantage of a super weird game week where it's like, this is the only team that plays that has a good matchup. So, like, if Manchester United plays and they play like a 2-game, or I'm talking more like in the knockout rounds. Once you get to the knockout rounds of the Champions League and Europa League and stuff, you start whittling down teams that are playing, and you start whittling down possible games. You could get random island games that's like, all right, there's no one playing, and you have a stack and it's good. So like what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get like a Bayern stack ready and available to use, a partial Manchester United stack, because Bruno's my best card, period, probably to some extent in my gallery. So I want to make sure that if they have a god matchup, that I can use it well. So like, for example, like they play Copenhagen at home after the international break. It's a great spot. I want to be able to have a Bruno available and a Delote, because the issue is what I find myself in is I have a Kimmich super rare and a Kane rare. It's very hard to play them without a defender super rare. And I think the biggest thing missing for me is defender super rare. So like Trent Alexander-Arnold is the best. Tried to get him, failed. I would like to get one. If anyone has a Trent Alexander-Arnold and you want to sell it to me, a super rare, let me know. I don't think anyone does. That's why there's no real point. I would like to get a Kim Min-jae super rare, because I have a Sane super rare, Kimmich and Kane. And oh, hey, what do you know? They play Copenhagen in the midweek. Who would have thunk it? And I want to be able to play them with a elite level super rare, which, like, again, if I have a Kim Min-jae and I'm comfortable he'll play, that's a great card to pop in there with it. Otherwise, I have to play someone from a different team. Like, I just don't have a good super rare defender. So unless I can turn and get like a Harry Kane super, which I don't think is super realistic right now, buying one I think would be difficult. And even so, I don't really think I want to spend 7 ETH on it if it was reasonable. So it's a tricky situation for me. Rico Man wants to know, Laird, are you selling your Quinones reward?
I don't have a Quinones reward. I did win him once in a rare, but I sold it 2 years ago. I don't have a Quinones reward.
Mike Baston said, optimistic of Man United making the knockout stage. I'll tell you where else they can go, Mike Baston, the Europa League.
Yeah, you would much prefer them to go to the Europa League, actually.
I'll take them in the Europa League where, like, yeah, maybe they don't play right away in the Europa League, but towards the end, they'll definitely start playing their best team there. And they'll
go back to the full team stack thing. The idea of the island game seems so, it's not random because obviously, like you said, the further along you go, the fewer teams are, but it also like the fewer rewards that are given away. And at every step, there are going to be other decent teams in matchups basically similar to Man United that like there's going to, if they go to the Europa and they make the semi, like there's a semi in the Conference League, there's a semi in the Champions League. And so
it's not even just that. So here's the thing. It's not like a full island. Like it might be like a partialized island, right? So this is kind of where my brain is at with stuff. There are game weeks where only the EPL plays, right? Like there are definitely some game weeks like Boxing Day. I'm pretty sure like the only game weeks that week is like, especially around Christmas. Like lots of teams will take some time off around Christmas. So let's say Bundesliga is done, Serie A is sitting, and France is out. And all of a sudden you only have England and Man United plays Luton Town. And you're like, well, shit, I don't have a lineup. And you're like, this sucks. Whereas like if you have a full team, you can pop them out there. And like I can always find places for good enough players. Like Delote, I will probably be able to find a place for him while he's consistently starting every week, right? So like it's a good card to have. Similar like goalies, I'm fine having as many goalies as possible because like realistically with the goalie, you just like you're playing the shittiest team in the league, you're a big favorite, I can play you. So I try to have like a good option stacked there when the Premier League plays, which is why I wanted Trent. If I get Trent, then I get Allison, then I have Allison, Trent, Bruno can fill it out the rest of the way from there. No big deal. Bundesliga. If the Bundesliga has an island, Bayern's going to be the clear and away top dogs, elite level team. Well, currently I don't have a super defender. So all of a sudden I'm running a rare defender and it's like, that's not great. And then similarly, like France, if France has a island week, you all of a sudden PSG is likely going to have a big game there. They're likely going to be a big favorite. And I actually do have a PSG full stack because I have the defender super rares. So like I have Skriniar and Marquinhos who have been good. They've been better this year. Like the defenders have definitely been better this year than they were last year. And then I have Mbappe and Dembele. And then like you don't really care about a mid from them. Like I can find a mid from someone else to pop in most likely when they play. I do have Vitinha if he does play, but like I have different options. So anyways, like I'm trying to like the idea, and it really even works better from a U23 perspective. The idea for me from a whale perspective is like, if I can have these like rare pro lineups on weeks where nobody plays except for very few teams, you put yourself in a really good position to win a contest, and winning contests are very good.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. It feels like and obviously you can use that card, all of these cards in a ton of spots, but it does feel like one of those where you're basically building a team for 3 game weeks.
I'm not building a team for 3 game weeks. I'm building a team for 3 game weeks that also has utility at all times. So it's a different thing. Also, like I said, like to me, being a whale is about maximizing those spots because that's the difference between me and me than other people. You in those game weeks, you're just like, I don't have a team. Me, I'm like, I literally have a team and there's 5 people that can realistically win this competition and I'm one of them. And so like if I'm in a spot where like 1 of 5 people can win the competition, and if you come top 5, you get at least like 0.2 ETH, and if you win, you get like 1 ETH, that adds up over time. Because it's not like on any given game week, I cannot play Delote super or I cannot play a Skriniar super. Like I can almost always find a spot for them regardless. But then those certain special game weeks, it's like because I have this card, it unlocks me. And it really happens in U23, right? U23 is the ultimate, like, especially at the beginning of the season. I know where Harry trades, he's the king of it. I've done very well. But like those Europa Conference League playoff stuff at the beginning of the season, like you having a lineup in that shit just like puts you at a really good spot to win a tier 0. Like, is it going to be a top level tier 0? No, but like if I win a half an ETH tier 0 and 0.2 ETH, well, that adds up. Because like it was like Sven Mijnons. Like I had Mijnons in that stage of the season, and it's like he probably was in the lineups that got me like 1.5 ETH of rewards. Well, that really limits what you need to do the rest of the season if you were able to produce that for me at that time of the year.
So in this very busy type of year for you, what part of Sorare is the one that's being like neglected, basically? Like, what are you not able to do as much as that you used to do before it got really busy?
Not watching games.
So, yeah. So everything else, scouting cards that you want and setting lineups is all just fine.
Well, I'm not going to sacrifice that. I'm not going to sacrifice because that directly directs or affects my bottom line and how much I can make. But I do not have the bandwidth to watch a boatload of games, which is a lot of the enjoyment for me, is sitting there on a Saturday having games from 6 a.m. till midnight, having a game on that is of interest to me. Whereas now, like, those games are on and I just can't watch them.
Right.
Yeah. And people are going to be like, well, you could watch them. But the issue is, like, if I have them on, I'm going to give attention to them, and I just can't give attention to them at some points. Like, some points my head is down and I'm in spreadsheets. Like, I don't want to have my attention diverted away from that.
So how much of your scouting do you attribute to watching games?
A decent amount. Like, if I see guys that I think are pretty good that are in spots where I'm like, this guy can produce if he scores or something. My scouting is different though, I guess, now, because like
that's why I'm asking, because it's like, if you stopped watching, does it actually change your scouting much?
Not really. I mean, on some guys, like I'm not like, I don't need to watch games to know I want Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? But that said, I can watch games and find some guys that are like, oh, this guy looks pretty good. I kind of would like that card longer term. So it's like a situation where like it does happen like that. But yeah, my scouting is a lot more different because, I mean, realistically, I'm going to be completely honest. A lot of the scouting is just like, these are the teams that you need to pay attention to. And it's like the same teams every season. It is Genk. It is Bruges. It is AZ. It is Ajax. It is etc. Like the top teams in these non-top 6 leagues that are important. So Ben said that it's interesting that I value watching the games. My quality of life improved when I started working Saturdays and can't watch most games. So for me, I like to watch games. Like, so I just enjoy watching the games. Not watching them is just kind of like, if Sorare existed and I could never watch a game, I would be like, this sucks. Like, I wouldn't be on Sorare. I'd be like, there's no enjoyment for me. So like a lot of the enjoyment for me is like watching the games and seeing my guys do well. Like, yeah, it's also stressful because you see your guys like Griezmann miss 2 BCMs in 5 minutes and you're like, this blows. Right. But there's also a decent amount of enjoyment with watching games too.
That's fair.
Do you watch less games than me? Do you like watching games or do you not care? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
There's zero part of my Sorare scouting that comes from watching. Like, I'm not talking
about scouting. I'm just talking about like the overall, like, do you enjoy watching the games or not? Do you not care?
There will be like certain games that I try to like prioritize each week that I want to watch. And generally they align with my lineups.
Yeah.
But like sometimes I just can't watch them. You know me. I'm gone. I'm away from the TV most of the day. Saturday, probably most of the day Sunday. So like I really wanted to watch Midtjylland Copenhagen this week. Couldn't watch it because I was out. And Super Classic, the River Boca, couldn't watch that. Although I knew both of those would be very awful to watch from like a Sorare perspective. I expected, so both of those results were the opposite of what I thought was going to happen. Like Midtjylland and River both won 2-0 away. And I was like, I didn't prioritize my lineups at all. Realized I would have podium Champion America Rare Pro if I just like played all my River guys together. And I was like, they're not going to do it away to Boca.
That sounds very Laird of you, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting huge scores from those guys away to Boca. So, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, I like this from Bouncy. Forwards and mids are good to watch, but if it's a defender goalkeeper, the TV is off. I don't watch Sporting for that reason.
No, goalies, yeah,
don't even care.
Goalies are out, but like defenders, man. If I have like Douglas Santos in the lineup, I'm in.
Yeah, but he does not require a clean sheet. So like you're not watching.
No, correct.
You're just watching him to have fun. Like there's no.
Yeah, Ben said he was an anxious mess on Saturdays, watching players make passes and obsessing. Yeah, so part of the enjoyment to me is bitching about my guys getting effed, as Laird would say. Or like something bad happening and bitching. Like that's part of my fun.
I can confirm that.
It's like, oh, this happened, and then like I'm in 4 chats. This MFer screwed this up. Like I was like Pepe screwed up his chance, and I was sitting there bitching to Zarky because Zarky also had Veerman, and I was like, this loser Pepe blew this chance. Can you believe this shit? And then we're talking about that. Like that's part of the enjoyment to me. That said, like yes, it can be very stressful, but I've had like 10 years of stress because I'll tell you what, the Sorare sweat is nothing on the college football sweat. The college football DFS sweat is like 20 times more stressful. And I'm just sitting here like, and I'm looking at my TV's like up here. So like I have a TV up here and I'm just looking and like my guy like breaks his leg and I'm just like, well, there goes 20K. And then I'm just depressed the rest of the day. The worst is like, so if something bad happens in my Sorare lineups, I have like a lot of them and I can just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I'm watching, and this has happened before, like mind you, this has happened before. So last year I had a quarterback, for those that are familiar with American football. And he was like the most important play of the day. And I'm watching the game. We're talking, so Saturday starts at like noon Eastern. So like that's when Saturday starts for college football. Typically, like that's the big slate. And it goes all day and doesn't typically end until after midnight Eastern. So we're talking like 12 to 14 hours. And if I have a good day, like I make a lot of money. If I have a bad day, I lose a lot of money. So I have the quarterback that's like most important player of my day. Love him. He's going to smash. There's like no chance he doesn't do well. And I'm watching, we're talking 12:05. Dude just gets concussed. He's just obliterated, just like broken in half. And I'm just like, yeah. Because like you can't leave the day. If Sorare goes bad, I can like go lay on the couch and watch like a movie or something, or wait till the next game starts when I have another play. Oh no, in college football DFS, it's just like my day is going to be really shitty. And you have to sit here for the next 14 hours and enjoy getting kicked in the nuts for 14 hours. So you literally just sit there. You're like, yeah, no, this is not going to go well. And then 14 hours of pure misery follows. So the college football DFS split is way worse. It is not fun.
I believe that.
Yeah, it's not enjoyable.
I will say, not playing DFS anymore just feels like a fantastic decision.
I don't play very much. It's pretty much college football and then preseason football. Other than that, I just do not play anything, and it is a lot less stressful. That's not true. I play XFL to some extent too. But yeah, like I don't play NFL, so the reason I stopped playing NFL DFS is because by the time I got to Sunday, my brain was so destroyed from everything else. Because like I used to do everything I just talked about to you guys earlier in the show, and then played NFL on Sunday and worked like 12 hours. My brain was so obliterated by Sunday that I was so miserable all the time, and I never got a day off. So I was just like, no, going outside is never-ending misery. Like there's no enjoyment outside. Like it's just.
I'm with you, Mike.
So Charlie asked, is DFS your primary source of income? Yes, technically. I will say, so like for the last 10 years, excluding one, the most amount of money that I made during the year was due to playing DFS. Except for 1 year. One of the 10 years, I made more money doing something else.
Selling your body.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many, let me go back to you work like this Delo card and kind of others that you do, given the size of your gallery, what's your process of figuring out what you need to do next?
At this point, it's pretty simple, right? It's like, where can I improve my lineups? And I know where there's clear improvements. The two clearest improvements to my gallery today are super rare champ defender or like a Kane type super rare, which I just can't afford. I can afford it. I don't want to pay that price for it. And then the other biggest improvement to my gallery right now would be a elite level super rare defender of any league. So like, let's say a Douglas Santos. So like those, right? Like I think the two biggest improvements to my gallery right now that I can make are a Douglas Santos super rare and like and I'm just using him as an example. It could be like someone else, and then a like Trent Alexander-Arnold super rare. Those would be like the two most logical next steps for my gallery. But it's pretty easy. It's very easy. The way that I do it is like I'm setting my lineups, and if I look at my rare pro lineups on a weekend, and I'm like, I do not like who I have to play in this lineup, that means that there's an improvement that could be made there. If I'm sitting there and I look and I'm like, I'm playing this guy, and I'm like, I could definitely improve that. That means there's an improvement I can make. That's sort of how I decide if there's improvement. Outside of that, I'm trying to buy like random people here and there that are like undervalued or not known yet, that are maybe going to be someone that would be a possible option in the future. But again, a lot of that's by watching these teams that are like AZ, Gank, Porto, etc., that produce younger talent. And I then try to look at the player and be like, can this guy be good in Sorare? Not that he is now, but can he be good? Because like there's definitely players where you and I have talked about that are like, it doesn't matter. This guy's just going to be kind of not very good. And I'm like, I don't give a shit if I don't think he can be realistically good. So it's a lot of it's like looking at the guys and trying to objectively be like, if this guy gets a run and actually like somehow solidifies himself, could he be good?
And so you do that, like seeing your results as opposed to like when you're making your lineups, or is it?
What do you mean? I don't care about.
Like I look at my lineups and then I see like I'm missing a super defender. Is that like when you during the game week or while you're building?
Building. If I'm building and I'm like, I do not like this option that I have to play, that means I need an adjustment. I don't give a shit what happens after the game week starts. Everyone else cares so much about like.
But that's a complete and utter lie, by the way. But go on.
What do you mean?
That you don't care what happens after the game week.
No. Okay, all right. I don't care about like what decision I made after the game week. Like I don't look at the game week and be like, I played this guy and he sucked. Like other people, like I talk to so many people that are like, I'm making so many mistakes. I'm doing this, and they're like, it's like 2 weeks. It's like, who gives a shit? But like, yeah, this week in All-Star Rare Pro, I'm just like, I don't care, and just played a. I was so concerned about real ridiculous rotation this week that I was just like, I don't give a shit, and so I just played a full PSV stack at home against Volendam, and they just sucked ass.
Yeah, they were terrible.
But like, if they didn't suck ass, I think it would have been a pretty good line. But like, I think last week, let me go check last weekend. And I was just like, man, my options are atrocious. Oh yeah, no, literally. So I finished 7th in All-Star Rare Pro last weekend. And I had to play Aranya against whoever the hell they played. And I was like, I don't love that I'm having to play him here, but I think that this is the best composition of a lineup I can come up with. And I was like, but I don't like that I'm having to do this play. And I was looking at some others, and I'm like, I don't have a good rare defender that I can realistically play here. Yeah, Mike Bass and Goose Till. Goose Till sucks. Like, that is a good example of someone who sucks. I have no interest in Goose Till no matter what. Dude is not good in terms of so rare scoring perspectives. He's like Kai Havertz is what Goose Till is. But so yeah, so like it's like one of those things. Like if I'm building a lineup and I'm like looking at my lineups and I'm like, I have very limited options. I don't love this. That's when I don't care about what they do and they produce on a given week. Like you could produce and put up 100. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Or you could suck and put up 20. It's like, I know if I was uncomfortable playing the card to begin with, and like, that's all you have to do.
And how many lineups do you realistically do that with? Meaning you're not looking at your cap 220 lineup and being like, boy, I wish I had a better, like, which ones are the ones that you're really focusing on? We know All-Star Rare Pro is first, but
yeah, the D1s sort of set themselves. Like I'm not even going to really count the D1s because like I can't just go out there and be like, I need a Chemic Unique, baby. I'm going to go pick that up. It's like,
yeah,
what comes out on auctions all right, this if cards make sense on auctions from uniques, I'll look at them. But like, I'm not just gonna. You can't really go get uniques for buying them. Like, I can't just be like, hey, yo, can I buy this Carlos Gil unique off you? Person's gonna be like, yeah, 40 ETH, and I'm gonna be like, cool, and then not buy it.
How about less? Did Pavel
Whereas,
ever get rid of his?
yeah, they're like, did who?
Pavel had a Gil unique for a while.
I have no idea. Honest, I think he did sell it. To be honest, I think he did. But it's like, yeah, I'm like, I can't. I don't care that I can't do that. So I would say like 10 to 12 lineups I want to have strong each week. So it's typically like my D3s and then a few D2s.
That's rare pro and super rare for anyone who joined
Yeah.
the platform within the last 18 months.
Rare pro, and super rare. So if the rare pro and super rare lineups are pretty good, I am content. It's like Challenger Rare Pro, Gas Pro, U23 Pro, Champ Pro, then like D2s, and then like Asian America, I'm fine. Like there's really not many improvements I can make in Asian America. There's more I can make in America, less so that I can make in Asia. Like I have most of the good cards in Asia that play in Korea and Japan. Like I don't have the ones that play in Saudi, but like
these are the 4 Carlos Heals. So Bambi got Pavel's. Do you think it's crazy that they have 2 pictures of Carlos Heal for 4 years of cards?
yeah, it's pretty funny actually.
Like these are obviously the same.
Yeah.
The headshots, and then these 2 are the same picture.
Mm-hmm.
Dude just hates picture day.
Apparently.
Yeah. Anyway.
Bouncy asks, if I had a quiet week, do you blame the cards or the lineup building? Neither. I just know it can happen somewhat. Like it just is what it is. I bitch about the results. I don't bitch about the individual cards or the lineup building.
But I think you could make the argument that you would blame. I mean, you like 5 minutes ago blamed the card for that you finished 7th in All Star Rare Pro, and you're like, I played Arana, and I was like, that's not.
No, I'm not blaming the Arana.
Blaming the card.
No, I'm not blaming the Arana that I finished 7th, and I'm like, I think that was my best option, and him putting up 55 was like what I expected. Not like what I expected.
Maybe that's blaming your lack of cards as opposed
to it's more so I'm blaming like, all right, I don't have the best cards. Like I just don't have the best option. This is just what I have. And I would say like I just don't put that much stock into it. Like I know if I make lineup mistakes occasionally. Everyone does. I try to make less of them than anyone else, but I still make them. And there's definitely been a couple times where I'm like, yeah, that was probably a mistake. And I was like, I shouldn't have done that. And then I was like, I don't care.
So hold on, because I love this next question, because you seem like somebody, as you've just described, like you get the idea of specific cards that you want, or maybe like a handful, like I want to get a upper tier super rare defender. And like in your head, you know how many players that is. Like it's not one of 25 cards. It's probably one of
5.
Yeah.
I had a list from Camp Defenders. You want the list?
If you want to share it.
Let me pull it up. I can tell you the exact cards that I was like, I think these are of interest to me.
Okay. So while you're looking for it, because fundamentally, and Ben is asking if you've considered buying like a full collection for your gallery.
I don't give a shit.
The collection is like, seems the total opposite of anything you would do, because it essentially requires you to buy cards you never want to buy.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about the collection bonus at all. Still don't, never did, don't care. Like if I get a percent, like I might keep a percent if I can keep a percent. If it is a card I will play every single week, I care a little bit about it, but not enough to go and buy cards from the team that I'm never going to use.
Right. So like you're not going out and buying Carlos Hill, or excuse me, New England Revolution super rares from 3 years ago to boost your Carlos Hill.
And typically like the players on teams that I care about, the alternative pieces that I would have to go buy are not 0.01 ETH. They're like 0.08, 0.1. Like you have to spend a lot to get the bonus up. I don't give a shit if my Melly Muhlenstein has like a 14% bonus opposed to 12. I don't give a shit. I would like my Mbappe to have a 15% instead of 12, but like buying the additional pieces from PSG is not going to be cheap.
And if you're building some sort of collections, if you're building a team stack, do you prioritize the same season or not?
I don't give a shit. It's whatever cards I have. I mean, if I can, I will, but like it's not something I care much about. Which I guess I'm kind of in like the I'm kind of in the minority. I know a lot of people care about it. I just don't give a fuck. Like, don't care.
I feel like the bigger the gallery, the less the care on the collection bonus. But I
I don't
think that
know.
has
I
no.
think no, I think it's somewhere like here's the correct answer, right? There's people that are all about the collection bonus, and they're just like, give me that shit. And then there's people, and then I'm on the other end of the spectrum, and I'm like, I don't give a shit at all. And then the correct answer is somewhere in between, closer to my side, but in between. Like it's probably like I'm the 1%. The people that really really care like massively about collection bonus are like the 100%. The answer is probably like the 25th percentile is the correct answer.
But I mean, you compete at the highest levels of Sorare. Do you find that the people you're competing against? So this is kind of a weird question because collection bonus is really stupid for uniques and super rares. But do you think that there are whales on the gallery focusing on collections?
I doubt it, but like it's harder to get, like you just said, it's harder to get bonuses on super rares and uniques. Like people aren't just ripping off 5% on a collection bonus and uniques. Like it's not really realistic.
And the rares are not important enough for them to
Correct.
prioritize the collections.
Correct. I don't care about rare division, and rare pro division is like you can offset it by just having the best lineups.
Right. Like I think ultimately that's what it comes down to it for me is that you instead of spending resources to make one card better, you're just going to buy a different better card.
Yeah, correct. Like I mean, I've won. I don't even know what are my bonuses. I won Challenger Rare Pro, or I think I win unless someone puts up 100. There was like one card that has to put up like 100. I don't even know what my bonuses are. My bonuses, well, I guess my bonuses are decent, but like I literally used Bergwin, who I just won last week. The other guys have good bonuses, but like just because I've owned them for a while, I don't have a
Right.
collection
Like
bonus.
Wellenreuther, Douglas Santos, and or those two are looks like they're at level
Well,
2.
I've owned Douglas Santos for a long time, and that's like I had
Yeah.
from that season Wendell and Malcolm, so like I have a
Yeah.
decent amount. Wellenreuther, I think I've owned since like my first week on the platform. Gertruda, I won, but I've won a couple cards from Feyenoord, which probably boosted him, which is why he's okay. McGregor, I bought, but like I don't have a collection bonus on him. I don't think. Like if I do, it's just literally him. I
Yeah.
don't
So
have
like Geertruida's on level 14.
yeah.
But you have 9.5 on him because you have a 2% Feyenoord collection.
Yeah, which I don't even know who's in it. I couldn't even tell you the cards I have. Like I won Paxal, so I know I won Paxal. Yeah, I won Zemansky too. Yeah, so I've won. I literally did not buy any of those cards, not one of them, and I got 2% out of it. So
And you got 2%. Yeah.
but like I don't care. I don't know. So Hugo says the problem of lineup builders is that people that put in lineups know nothing of who is going to play because nobody knows who is going to play for real. You can have pretty good ideas who are going to play, but that's why I dislike algorithms because algorithms are blind to nuances that can impact your decision making process. Like I can know if someone's going to be 80% to start on a weekend and someone else is 99.9% to start on the weekend. Whereas like both might show up as like 100% of the lineup builder, but they're not equal 100%. What I do know is that what I do like about the lineup builder and like building with the algo is like if I see someone's at like 85, I know there's probably some sort of reason why they're not at 100. If it's someone that starts every game, it gives me an indication. But yeah, algorithms in general, they're blind. They don't have the ability to know what's going on. So that's exactly why I don't fully buy into. I never do, and I've seen it in DFS, right? Like a lot of the people that have won the most money in DFS created algorithms and models. A lot of the people that have lost more money than anyone else were those same exact people who their models and algorithms went out of date and they didn't know how to update them properly, and they lost millions of dollars. So it's like I don't like to rely fully on. I use them, but I don't like to rely fully on it because if you do, it's going to be a mistake.
Yeah.
Charlie
I think
says
that.
sometimes your guys just don't have killer fixtures. It can be as simple as that. As a whale, the goal to me is to try to always have someone that has a good matchup. The last thing I want is if Kimmich and Kane are a 5.5 goal favorite, and I do not have a midfielder at all in my gallery that has a good matchup to play with them or something like that. So my goal as a whale is to always have someone that has a good matchup because then I can weasel stuff around to sort of make things work with it.
Yeah. When you have 847 rare cards and 450 super rares, you're not playing just hoping you have good matchups each game week.
Correct. And so like that's like the thing is like I'm not out here to I know that some of the cards I own I'm not like Steven Bergwijn. That card will probably be in like a Challenger Rare Pro lineup like 10% of the time. Very limited because he's just not going to usually be there. This week he fit and he was the guy. Like if I didn't own him, I think I think if I did not own him, I would have ran either a completely different lineup or I would have put on a watch you there. If I put on a watch you there, I don't win and I get fourth. The difference between first and fourth is going to be at least a half an ETH. So it's just about like I had that card until I was able to use it this week and it was able to produce for me, which was good. Similar like McGregor. McGregor, I think, is a better D2 card, super rare card than he is a rare pro card because he doesn't have a lot of spikes in him, but when he does, he typically is going to get like 90 plus, but it's limited. But he's usually very consistent. That like if he puts up 65 in a super rare lineup, that's usually pretty good to keep that lineup afloat. And if he does rip 100, that's really good for that lineup. But just so happened he had a really good matchup, and I really didn't have the best options this week to use there, so I used him there.
This was the lineup, by the way, for everybody.
Blue Tomatoes asks, would I do it if I played limiteds, limited only? Yeah, collection bonus is way more important for limiteds, but I just like, I don't know. It's difficult for me to be like, I would care much about it at the limited level too, because you're just winning so little value in rewards in limited. And even if you have big collection bonuses, it's really difficult to produce a super high end result. Like what did you get for your reward in limited the other day that you were super excited about?
I got a Acturgalu limited and a Dijon Camari rare.
How much are they worth?
Whatever, like $150 is in ETH.
So like 0.1 ETH. So like that's just like the absolute max you can realistically win.
No, that's not true. I mean, I finished
realistically. I said realistically. Like you cannot yeah, but that's like your best result you've had in limited. When was the last result you had that was equal to that in limited? And you take limited seriously, so
yeah, but I don't enter everything.
Doesn't matter.
Like I had 3 lineups.
When was the last time you had a result that was equivalent to that?
Probably when I won Grimaldo, whenever that was. I don't remember. I literally don't even remember when that was.
Grimaldo limited?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, that's worth like 0.05 ETH, so it's worth.
Well,
like
now it is. No, now it is. But I won it months ago.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just like, yeah. To Blue Tomatoes' point, yes, it's very difficult to compete without collection bonus in the limited level because
that I agree with.
You have to be really good. Like I put up some really big scores occasionally in limiteds, and like I get like 70th, and I'm like,
yeah, like when was this? Oh, it was a midweek, excuse me. But like first place, and obviously we don't want to fully go first place, but like first place last weekend, Cap 270 is the one I happened to place highly in. That was Ederson
limited. One because you get rare.
Yeah, so it was Ederson limited at 0.11, 0.12, and then Casemiro rare, which was another 0.1. So 0.22 of value for first place.
Well, look, Nanzo thinks the collection bonus feature is just dull. Nanzo, I have a question. Do you find yourself like pretty in line with what I think a lot of the time? Because I feel like we do things similarly. You just are a bigger whale.
I just think it's a weird spot for Sorare that they have made the collection bonus important for the people who spend the least amount of money.
Yeah. I'm just curious if Nanzo generally lines up with my viewpoints on things a lot. Because it just feels like Nanzo and I are usually very similar in our thoughts.
So I think, and I don't know Nanzo that well, but I'm guessing that one of the biggest differences is that he goes outside.
Well, I mean, some people make mistakes. Like, no, I just like based on what obviously I don't know Nanzo well. Nanzo, if you want to talk to me, feel free to hit me up. I don't talk to Nanzo very often. But just based on Nanzo's talking in shows and stuff, he seems to be like the person on Sorare that I align most with in terms of thought processes. Would you agree with that based on what you've seen?
I just don't know that many people with galleries your sizes. That's all.
Yeah, but I'm saying like in terms of like actual thought processes and stuff with what you've seen from him and what you know about me, would you say they align most clearly? Okay, Nanzo says I think so. Like I think I align a lot with like people like you too. Like, but I'm saying like different aspects. Like I don't, for example, like AJ, I don't align with AJ at all from a thought process standpoint. Like Bellama and I differ a lot in thought processes. Everyone has good thoughts and good examples, but I'm just saying like from a when we talk about stuff and then Nanzo pops in and Nanzo pops in pretty frequently, everything Nanzo says is typically like in line with how I am thinking about stuff. So I just thought that was a similar. I was just curious, and he tends to agree because like I don't know much about Nanzo because I don't talk to Nanzo, but Nanzo knows more about me because he watches the show where I'm obviously giving my opinions. But yeah, I definitely think Nanzo and I have very similar viewpoints on things.
Yeah, I just don't see them having any reason to make you guys prioritize collections.
Correct. Someone asked. Claudio said to start really aiming to earn something, just go to rare. Here's the thing, and like it's all relative. If what I would explain and how I'd explain to someone is if you're trying to make money on Sorare, you should trade. I think you would agree with that, Laird.
I don't anymore.
Oh, you don't? Okay, interesting. If you are trying to like win substantial rewards, limited's not the place for you. However, if you are content and you are excited about playing limiteds and let's say winning a $20 prize and that is good for you and you're excited, do that. Have fun with that. Because like a lot of the fun gets lost on Sorare when you move up. And then we had a friend, Josh Forth. He just sold his gallery right now. He said he'll be back. He'll be back to some extent in the future. He just had to get off. But he said a lot of he had real life reasons why he was getting off, and he also just hasn't had as much fun recently. And Laird and I have talked about it. It's because Josh is a very efficient gallery person. A lot of the efficient gallery negatives are that like you typically will have hot runs where you just are smashing and getting in really good rewards. But then the downfall is when you go cold, and you don't win much at all. And that can be incredible when you're like sitting there and you're like podiuming this, podiuming that, and then you go 2 months without winning a tier 2. You're just like, this sucks. This isn't fun. So I would definitely say that if you are someone that enjoys playing the limiteds and you get value out of that and it's an enjoying process for you, I would not recommend jumping up to higher levels. That said, if you are like, I want to win a reward worth $500 frequently, yeah, you have to move up. But even then, like I don't even think the rare is the place to go. You have to go to like the rare pro division because the rare division, like if you put up 420, you're not really going to get a card that's worth a shitload.
Yeah, I think it's fundamentally if ROI is your goal, limiteds I think is the easiest.
Yeah,
but it's just because you're churning $1 into $2.
Correct.
But if it's like you're looking for actual gross, whatever your fiat or currency of choice is, and you just want to make the most, it's almost impossible to do it with limited.
Surface said the majority of the revenue is for limiteds and rares. Individually, they spend less, but as a group, they spend a lot. Didn't you prove that wrong before? Wasn't it proven that most of the money was spent on like uniques and super rares?
I don't think so.
I believe I heard that somewhere, but I can't back it up. I don't have the info, but I think someone said that at some point with info. I don't know. But yeah, so Denarly said, I'm only limited, but I have so much fun and I haven't watched so much football in a long time. 100%. That's what I like to hear. That is great. If you are in that spot, don't move up. Keep playing what you're doing, slowly improve over time. Don't just jump to the next level, because once you move to the next level and then you win cards worth $300-400 and then all of a sudden you don't win shit for months and you're just like, this is no fun anymore. Keep the joy in your life. Like keep the joy in playing limiteds and enjoying stuff.
I like that.
No, so Mike Bassett said Josh had the most discipline of any of us, sitting out whole winter breaks with his Zenit cards. Josh sucks. Josh never bought Carlos Gil or bought into America. So like, I mean, you're really not having fun if you're not doing that. That's realistically why Josh sold up, is because he never got into the enjoyment of Carlos Gil. Really where it comes down to.
There certainly couldn't have been any other reason.
No. Well, and Josh Forth was also a big proponent of stacking Ajax when stacking Ajax was like the gold standard of Sorare. And when that went out the window, Josh Forth tried to play other players, and Josh Forth went through like a 2-year stretch of he would have a 1v1, and then he would play the guy that sucked ass every single time.
He did have that. Yeah, he talked to John. I remember, I think it was on Nellis's podcast also. Oh, no, it was with you.
Yes.
You guys did a show 2 months ago or so on this channel. Everybody go check that out. But yeah, I think Josh was like the first like real Ajax stacker.
Yes, he was. I agree.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that became less relevant, and stacking is now not what it was. I think we definitely went through a window where it was like nobody had a clue what stacking was. Then some people started to stack and really smashed it. Then everyone wanted to stack and went too overboard. And now we're sort of falling into a sort of middle ground where it was like you want to have like pieces of this team, pieces of that team, sprinkle this, and that's how you mix it in. Like my Rare Pro line or my Challenger Rare Pro line this weekend is a pretty good example of that, I think, where I have like a defensive stack from Feyenoord. Then I have what I thought was the best play of the weekend in Douglas Santos in there. And then I had like I didn't use Douglas Santos in All-Star Rare Pro because I was just like, I'm just gonna run a PSV stack. But I thought he was the best card of the weekend for me, one of. And then McGregor and Bergwijn. So it's not really a stack, but it's like parts of different teams that are pretty good.
I will say that I think people are overstacking now, limited and rare because of collections. Like I think
you
people
go have
feel
1,900 like limiteds. You're crazy.
That lineup builder must be just dreadful to get through.
Oh yeah, you're nuts. That's crazy. But again, like if you as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. Like I think no. So I looked it up, and Douglas Santos has been really good against Orenburg, even at home. They've been very good against Orenburg away and at home. Douglas Santos has. Like I looked at it because I typically will. One of my favorite people to look at is I think it works really well for fullbacks. One of my favorite people is Daniel Munoz, because like Daniel Munoz has teams that he just smashes.
He smashes, yeah. And
then he has teams that he just does bad against every time. So against Orenburg, Santos had 100 before. So before this weekend, though, he had a 68 with no clean sheet or decisive. He had 110. Those were his games against Orenburg. So I was like, yeah, those are pretty good. But like, so Munoz is one of my favorites. So let me go to Daniel Munoz real quick. And I'm going to tell you like what he does against, like, he's like really good against Westerlo. Like it's bad teams in the league, but like there's some of the lower end teams that he's not as good against. But so they played who they play this weekend? Westerlo. I think he's really good against Westerlo typically. It's so this week 71. Previous game against Westerlo had 88. Previous game against Westerlo, he had 100. A team that he is very good against is Sint-Truiden, I think. So Sint-Truiden, he had a 65, 51, 87, 59. And you can just sort of see the AA, and like you can look at it and it's like this guy gets like 30 AA. Another one that I like as well is Robin Proper, because you can tell pretty well like which teams he does well against and which teams he does not do well against. So it can help you be like, all right, he's playing this team and he has a historically pretty good track record against them. Because the teams, a lot of teams like play similarly, and like some teams might take away the fullback or might like take away the center back having a lot of duels won, whereas like other teams might like lump the ball up to their 5'10" striker, and big Robin Proper comes in and wins the duel over and over again.
Just love to see that.
Yep.
You got anything else? Let's see. Ben said, and I know Ben is a huge collector, or at least a collection builder, put it that way. He said, my lineup building is more lineup selecting. I'm playing my Norwich stack in 240, 270, or second division. The team builds itself. What do you do when Norwich have a bad matchup? You just play a different stack, I guess.
I think he's just moving it into like a lower lineup of the group.
Yeah. But yeah,
Which is
he's got
fine. Like, I think there's a lot of merit in the platform in like having a stack of whatever your favorite team is and running it, because
just running, yeah.
Or better yet, having a stack of your favorite team without the goalies, so that if they concede, you're not hating your life entirely.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything else?
No, not really.
Yeah, good. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. Yeah, that went to a lot of different places. And it's crazy to me that we just spent, what are we at? 70 minutes talking about Sorare and all the things we're doing. And you had the gall to say it was a dull period of Sorare.
Yeah, but it's more of a me problem, I think, than anyone else right now.
But
But to be fair, I have heard from other people that they're like a little bored right now. I actually, you know what? Here's a hot take. I'm actually somewhat excited for NBA season. I like their NBA product. I know most people think it sucks. I'm not saying it's good, but like I actually, you know why I like the NBA product? Because it happens at night and I just lay in bed. And if I'm watching a TV show, not paying attention at like 10 p.m., I know if a lineup's good. And I can just be like, all right, what's Jokic doing? All right, and then maybe I'll follow along with the box score for a little bit. But I'm not like fully involved where it's like soccer. I know if I have a good lineup, and I'm checking that shit like. Whereas like basketball, I'm like, all right, let's see. All right, cool. 20 minutes later, I go take a poop. All right, cool. Commercial break hits. Yeah, all right, that looks good. And like it's a low stress. Like I just sort of get to see what's going on at nighttime when I'm typically like in bed. And I don't have much going on, and it's just like, commercial break. Let me go check box scores for 2 minutes, and I go check box scores. So like, I like the basketball. I hope that it gets better. I like the improve. I like what they did. I think the things that they're doing could hopefully improve it. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so thank you everybody for joining, and we'll be back next week with another strategy show. If there's any specific topics, I feel like a lot came up today, but if there's anything you guys want us to expand on, or topics we didn't get to that you'd like to hear from us, feel free to reach out to me at Andrew M. Laird, and we'll get those on the agenda. Thanks, everyone.